Hobby Quick Hits. Delivering that breaking hobby news directly to your earlobes. You want to know those hot drops from the card shop? We've got you covered. With your host, John Newman.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 155 of Hobby Quick Hits here on this Monday for listening to us on release day. I hope all the fathers out there had a great Father's Day. Spent some time with family. Hope you got maybe part of the hobby was part of your Father's Day. Maybe your family got you a card. Hopefully it was a great Father's Day for you. All right, not a long episode today, but a little different one. It's about hobby Bushido. Now, for those that don't know, Bushido is the Japanese samurai code based on morals and honor. And I'm teaching it I was teaching it about a month ago in high school where I work. And I thought, man, a lot of these, as we went through these with the class, a lot of these could apply to modern times. And then I took it even a step further and said, not just modern times, but we can apply it hobby specific. And that's where this episode was born from. And we're going to kind of go through each of these Bushido codes from samurai times, but modernize them and apply the hobby to them. And I think you'll find it interesting. I had fun doing it. And so without further ado, let's get to the releases, the news, and then hobby Bushido code.
MojoBreakShop.com is the best place to get your sealed wax products and brakes. They not only have the best selection, but the best prices. Whether it's a box or a whole case, they are your guys. They ship worldwide to your doorstep. Their reputation as one of the most trusted in the hobby goes unmatched. They are the 2021 Topps Rip Party Champion Breakers. From sports card to Pokemon cards, their selection can't be beat. They offer daily deals and pre-orders.
Hey guys, John Newman here. Mojo's prices are already great, but to save an additional 10% off anything in their store, use the code QUICKHITS. That's QUICKHITS. Check out the full service store that's open 7 days a week in Santa Clara, California, or the website at mojobreak.com.
Let's check out this week's hobby wax releases. Take it away, Owen.
Hey guys, so I'm from Sports over the week releases. On the 21st, we have 2021-22 OPC Platinum Hockey, 2023 Panini Donruss Racing, 2022-23 Upper Deck Donruss AHL Hockey. On the 23rd, we have 2023 Leaf Metal Draft Football Hobby and Jumbo, 2022 Panini Select Football H2, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Palada Evolved Build and Battle Stadium, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Palada Evolved Build and Battle Deck, 2023 Topps Tribute Baseball. And on the 25th, we have 2023 Wild Card Illumination Draft Football, 2022-23 Topps UEFA Club Competitions Chrome Soccer. And on the 28th, we have 2022 Panini Chronicles Football, 2022 Panini Immaculate Soccer, 2022-23 Panini Select Basketball, 2022 Upper Deck Good Ones Champions.
Let's go round the hobbyverse and catch up on this week's hobby news.
Semi-busy news cycle this week. Let's start out with, unfortunately, a very sad story. 9 people were apprehended in Pennsylvania for stealing memorabilia, notably Yogi Berra's World Series and other award rings, about 17 total, and awards, plaques, Roger Maris's MVP award as well. The sad part is not that they got caught. That part's good. The sad part Well, it's two sad parts, right? The fact that these 9 people, this ring, committed these crimes, but the really terrible part is they took these medals from the rings and awards and melted them down and sold the medal. So they really weren't looking to resell the awards in their form that they stole them in, their original form. They were just taking it for the melt value. And so these pieces of history are now lost forever. These original pieces of history are gone. They've been melted down for the gold or the copper, maybe some silver, I'm not sure, but for sure gold and copper. And, we're melted down into brick and disc form, the report says, and unfortunately they'll never be recovered in that original form again. Various charges to these 9 folks. I'm not going to name them, although their names are now known. I'm not going to give them any gloss by naming them. And one of the charges I'm glad to see is kind of destruction to curated history, which is, hopefully that packs on some extra prison time. We'll see what the outcome is for the 9 involved, but glad they caught them. Sad that these pieces of baseball history are lost forever. All right, eBay, vetting breakers. Well, not really vetting. They're to sell any kind of break spots on eBay, you have to be approved. They've already sent emails to those they approved. I like this and I don't like this, and let me explain what I mean by that. I don't like it, or I do like it, because they're vetting breakers. So if one of those approved breakers does something not good or shady, someone can bring it to eBay's attention and they can take action, whether that's a temporary suspension or a permanent ban, right? The problem I have with this, so initially when I heard it, I was all 2 thumbs up and excited about it, or happy about it. And then when I looked further into it, this is where my opinion kind of changed. If you weren't an approved breaker and didn't get the email, you can't get your breaks or your spots listed on the auction site at all. There's no application process. So if you've been approved, you're good, but they will not take any new ones. And that I don't like. I think anybody should be able to apply whatever that process would look like and then get approved. But now it's kind of like you're either in or you're out, and there's no way to get in if you're not in. And that part I don't agree with. So good on one hand, bad on the other. All right, let's talk about some auction news that happened recently. One item I would have loved to own, but not in the budget. Wayne Gretzky's final game-worn jersey as a New York Ranger went for $715,000 at Gray Flannel Auctions. The buyer was a former Sports Card Nation guest, Rob Go. He bought that. He also bought from another auction a Kobe Bryant jersey for $462K. Great item here. Wilt Chamberlain's rookie jersey and shorts that he wore in every home game during his rookie season at SCP Auctions brought in a $1.79 million. And I mean, that's a crazy part of history right there. Wilt's rookie jersey and shorts from the whole season, right? When they wore like one uniform all year. Jordan Flu Game shoes that he gave to a Utah Jazz ball boy went in Golden's auction for $1.38 million. Great part of history there too. We all remember the Jordan Flu Game. How about this for ROI? The consigner, who wasn't the Utah ball boy, he wound up selling the shoes, and the consigner, who paid $104,000 for them, made out like a bandit, right? Paid $104K, sold it for $1.38 million. Not a bad ROI. If you can get it. So there's kind of the news for the last couple weeks.
feature presentation.
You know, sometimes we take inspirations for hobby content from our real life jobs, right? Or I say real life like the hobby's not real life. I always do that. I apologize. But from our real jobs, right? Our 9-to-5s, if you will. And I've done that a couple times with content creation. And today's going to be another one of those times I'm doing it with. In school, recently we learned about the Japanese code of Bushido. And some people may know about it, some people may not. And in teaching the class and talking with the class about the codes of Bushido, it dawned on me, it struck me, like some of these can apply to real life. And in modern times, right? The code of Bushido is from the age of the samurais and way back when, but we can apply it to now. And we can also, I sat there and I thought, you know, these can cross over into the hobby and have a hobby version as well. And that's what this episode is exactly going to be. I'm going to go over the 7 codes of Bushido and kind of apply them to the hobby. It's not going to be a long episode, but we're gonna kind of crossover edition, the Bushido crossover edition. So these are not in any kind of order, just in the order that I wrote them down in a sense. Okay, so let's start with the first Bushido I'm going to talk about. First code of Bushido, integrity, right? We all know kind of integrity. I've heard people call it like what you do when no one's looking, that sort of thing, right? And integrity in the hobby just comes from, you know, doing the right thing when no one's looking, right? Whether you're a store that's not weighing pack, if you're a seller online that's selling, you know, sending what someone paid for or traded for and quickly, and, you know, doing the right thing, right? Being above board all the time, right? Not just when someone's looking, but when someone's not looking. Integrity in the hobby. And it's something, you know, I'm going to pride myself on my integrity from starting even as a young hobbyist and as a young show dealer. I've always tried to do it the right way, not take advantage of anybody. When I had my store, you know, you open a box, a pack, and that was it. We weren't going to search them. We weren't going to weigh them. And I wasn't going to let anyone else come in. You know, there'd be kind of people come in and, hey, can I pick my pack? Sure, you can pick it, but you're not going to feel them all up and then pick, right? Just go ahead and pick whatever one you want. You know, even in boxes back in the day, some boxes, you know, ran sequentially. Like, for example, if my memory serves me correct, Fleer Ultra, there was, you know, one Scoring King a box, and it was in a certain pack in the box. When we opened that box, if it wasn't going to be a box that we opened for ourselves, we kind of moved all the packs around. And so if someone came in knowing that sequence and thought they were going to be slick and pick that pack, you know, they probably weren't going to get that Scoring King, you know, that to be fair to everyone. So integrity is that sort of thing to me. I pride on it, not on just hobby stuff, but across the board. All right, let's go to Bushido code number 2, respect, right? And respect is earned, not given, right? Respect is sort of doing the right thing and helping others and, you know, being an advocate and an ambassador in the hobby, and then, you know, people will respect. So respect comes from other people. You can't give it to yourself. You can do things to earn it from other people, but it's bestowed on you by other people, and it's a process, right? Doesn't necessarily happen overnight, and it only, you know, you can lose it quickly, meaning if you have it but fall off the rails or come off track, right, you can lose respect quick. But when you have it, you want to keep it, you earned it, but you don't want to lose it, right? The third Bushido is heroic courage, right? And that one's a tough one to really cross over in hobby terms, right? I mean, none of us are necessarily doing anything heroic, but I'll use it in this terms, right? We've seen many folks. I've done a few things myself where you give to charities, right? We have Golisano Children's Hospital here in Syracuse. I've donated cards to. Now, believe me, that's not heroic. It might be generous or nice, but it's probably, you know, we've seen other people. Someone in the hobby's been sick, or there's been a death, unfortunately, and the hobby rallies together to help that either that person or the family that lost a loved one. You know, that's maybe it's not heroic, but it's probably the closest to hobby heroic that we can do. And I've been involved in some of those efforts. I've spearheaded some as well. And I think it's important, right? This hobby, when we band together and come together as one big community, you can do a lot of things. The saying is you can move mountains. A little bit too extreme there, but we can do a lot of good individually. We can do a lot more good collectively. So that I'll put that under the Bushido code of heroic courage, right? The fourth Bushido code, honor, right? Sort of similar to respect, right? Honor. When I think about honor in the hobby, it's about, I did a piece for Sports Collectors Digest, my first piece. They wanted me to introduce myself, right? And I don't always like doing a whole piece talking about just me. So I made that piece about my journey all along the way in 30 plus years of the hobby. So I spoke about my grandfather and the first packs I got. I spoke about Rudy Backstein, the first store owner that put me to work and taught me business and the ropes and doing shows. I talked about my dad bringing me to shows when I started doing them at 15. I couldn't legally drive yet, and he was my transportation there. And I've talked about things since then, right? People that have helped me get to where I am on this hobby journey today. It's not done by yourself. It's involving yourself, but there are many people along the way to help you on the journey. Even this show, right? This is Hobby Quick Hits, but even Sports Card Nation, we've had almost 200 guests, right? That's a guest-driven show. I might be the host, but it's all those people on that show that make that show what it is. And without them, Sports Card Nation probably doesn't exist, and even if it does, it's not what it really is today. And I thank all those people, every single one of them, right? And so honor, right? To me, honor is honoring the people that got you where you are. Don't neglect that. Don't take them for granted. Don't be embarrassed mentioning them. There's no shame in that. And I've heard some people sort of fail to mention people because I think they don't want to hurt other people's feelings, as silly as that may sound. I'll talk about anyone along the way who's helped me, and no shame in that, and it shouldn't be. If I'm don't want to mention someone like that, they shouldn't have helped me, and I appreciate any help I've gotten along the way, and I'll never forget it as long as I can remember it, and that's important. All right, let's talk about the fifth Bushido code, compassion, right? Again, those two A words I like to use, advocate and ambassador, right? Looking out for your fellow hobbyists, right? Caring, like I mentioned, someone gets sick, or they had their collection stolen, or they had a fire in their house and lost their collection. Donating cards, helping a cause out, right? Being compassionate. You've built a nice collection, a nice arsenal of cards. It won't hurt you to give some of it up to someone less fortunate, or who had a tragedy against them where they've lost some of their, collection they built, right? That compassion in the hobby, again, goes a long way, especially when we come together, again, as a community. You're going to hear that common thread here. Sixth Bushido code, honesty and sincerity. Again, some of these are so similar, right? Honesty is just, again, doing the right thing. I think honesty in content creation is something, another thing I take pride in is saying, hey, I don't know the answer to that. Let me look into it. Or, I got to research it, and not just being phony baloney or faking your way through a conversation. I don't do that. People are pretty smart and keen if you did that to figure it out. Believe me, I've had conversations with folks, and it didn't take me long to figure out they were sort of baloney throwing their way through something, right? I respect someone more for saying, hey, John, I don't know, and I do the same thing. Hey, folks, I don't know, or I'm not sure, right? Nothing wrong with that. Sincerity, right? Being yourself, not a phony shtick, not a front, doing things at face value, right? What you see is what you get, is being sincere. And again, these are all things I try to be and do and be an example with, okay? And the last two Bushido codes, duty and loyalty, right? Duty, duty again is doing the right thing, helping your fellow collector out. We don't have a duty per se. It's not a job, right? I know some people want to claim they're the hobby watchdog watchdogs and I'll never make that claim, but I will come on any of my content if I can help someone avoid a pratfall or a scam or something else, right? It's sort of I don't want to say it really is my duty, but I feel sort of an obligation to share that knowledge, help others, right? And loyalty kind of goes back with honor, right? Loyalty is remember who got you somewhere, right? Even if maybe you're not as close to them as you used to be, okay? For example, I mentioned Rudy Backstein, the owner of 7th Inning Stretch, who hired me as a 13-year-old kid to work in the store. I haven't spoken with that gentleman, unfortunately, in 20 years. Nothing bad. We just sort of lost, I moved and we've lost touch, and he was an older gentleman. My fear is he's no longer with us. I kind of did a search. I didn't find an obit to be more, morbid curiosity. So I hope he's still among the living. I have tried to find him to no avail. So, but I'll talk about him, and what he meant to me along my hobby journey and how I probably wouldn't be here without what he did, right? And that's without talking to him for 20 years, or maybe not that long, but a good amount of time, and not even knowing whether he's hearing me, whether he's still, living or passed away, hopefully living. I still will give him his just deserves and due respect and credit. Whether he hears it or not doesn't matter that I do it, right? It's because it's the right thing to do, and it's because I appreciate it, and I know I'm not here without him. He might even say, you're giving me too much credit, John, but I'll beg to differ. So loyalty is honoring those and putting respect on those who helped you along the way. And I don't care who you are. I don't care how expensive or not expensive your collection is. I don't care if you do a podcast or don't do a podcast, right? Someone has helped you in the hobby in some form or fashion, right? If you started when you were a kid, maybe it was your parents who bought you packs or boxes, or drove you to the card store, or gave you an allowance to start your hobby journey, right? Or maybe it's that LCS owner who gave you a break or really looked out for you. I mean, there's so many. I could do a show just on how people may have helped you, right? But loyalty is not being ashamed to talk about those folks and putting proper respect on them for what they did for you. And if you do a good job, someone will do the same for you when you pay it forward as well. So there is my version of the hobby Bushido. I hope you enjoyed it. Something a little different, right? Than the typical and the norm, maybe what you get. And we try to do that here. So with that being said, we're going to bid you adieu. Thanks for listening to Hobby Quick Hits. We'll talk to you soon. All right. Thank you for listening to another episode of Hobby Quick Hits. Want to give out our social media, starting with our website, which is www.sportscardnationpodcast.com. Facebook, you can follow us at www.facebook.com/sportscardnationpodcast/ Twitter, we are at sportscardnat1, so it's sportscard NATI1. Instagram at sportscardnationpodcast, or you can email the show hobbyquickhits@gmail.com. Again, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.